My next guest, who I spent many a SportsCenter day having a conversation with back in the day, he is David Aldridge, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, David?
Rich, it's good to talk to you, man. I'm doing fine. Thanks.
Excellent, excellent. It's draft night, big night in Brooklyn. Is there any chance that we do not hear Karl Anthony Towns' name first tonight?
Ooh, I don't think so. I mean, I think that is as close to a sure thing as you can imagine. It just makes all the sense in the world. It's too good a fit for what they need and what he provides from a skill set perspective. He's just an outstanding defensive player, capable of guarding NBA screen rolls effectively, getting back to his man, and doing all the things that you need a big man to do these days in the NBA. And he just makes sense. They've got plenty of scorers. They need somebody who can help them get stops. They were absolutely dead last in the league in defense last year. And if they're ever going to be credible in the Western Conference, they've got to be able to get some stops defensively, and he can help them do that on a more regular basis.
Then what are the odds that the Lakers don't go Okafor should, as you expect, Towns go first?
Well, right now I think it's Okafor or Russell. I mean, I think Russell is certainly in the mix there at 2. And, I can understand that. I mean, I think D'Angelo Russell's got a chance to be a dynamic player, a superstar in the NBA. And when you get a chance to get a point guard with that kind of skill level who can also score, now he's not Steph Curry in that regard. He doesn't have the range of Steph Curry or the consistency, but he certainly can make threes, and his passing is just off the charts. So I think that's certainly in play at 2. But Okafor is a dominant big man, and they don't come along very often these days in the NBA. You don't see too many 7-footers with his ability come out. And so it's a tough call, and I think it may go down to the wire between those two.
I'm on the phone with David Aldridge at D. Aldridge TNT, as he is also an insider for TNT's Inside the NBA, joining me here on the program. What about the idea that the NBA is a copycat league, just like, say, the NFL, and in the same way that the Seattle Seahawks started winning football games over the last 3 years has affected the rest of the NFL's ideas as to what constitutes a winning football strategy, that what we saw from Golden State this year could affect the draft in the NBA tonight? What do you say to that, David?
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. Everybody wants to go smaller. I think that was the trend anyway, just with all the analytics that are dominating the game now, where three-point shooting is considered more important than post play, frankly. A lot of people are downsizing and going small, but certainly when you see a team like Golden State win a championship playing small, it has an effect. Now, nobody else has Curry and Thompson, but
yes,
that doesn't mean people can't try. So yeah, I think the game is definitely going towards small guys. You can see guys like Cameron Payne, for example, at Murray State, who is going to be drafted very high this year. Maybe 6 feet tall, but, maybe not. but a quick, fast guy, an explosive offensive point guard, those are the types of guys who are now getting much better looks and much more serious looks earlier in the draft. You can see how that's impacting the draft, where smaller guys, quicker guys are certainly getting drafted higher than they have been in years past. And with the rules changes also in effect in the league, it makes it a small man's game now. It is definitely going that way, and teams are definitely looking to emulate that.
So what about current stars in the league who might affect the balance of things tonight, starting with DeMarcus Cousins, David? Do you think that's going to play into tonight's proceedings at all?
I don't think he gets traded today. Now, could he get traded this summer? Yeah, I think there's a chance of that. I'm not quite sure what Sacramento is doing. They keep saying they're not going to trade him, but you keep hearing these reports that they're talking to the Lakers about deals. So whether it's the Lakers or somebody else, look, I wouldn't trade him. I think he's the best center in the league. But if they're determined to do it, then they're determined to do it. So, yeah, he's one. I think Kevin Love, certainly being a free agent, people are going to come at him. That doesn't mean he's leaving necessarily Cleveland, but they certainly are going to, whether it's Portland or the Lakers or San Antonio or, any other teams that have cap room and want to upgrade their front court. He's the guy that's going to be in play. LaMarcus Aldridge certainly looks like he's on his way out in Portland, and they're going to have to be able to replace him, so they'll be in play. Portland with the cap room they've got. So, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts that are going to impact this draft. So, for example, if you see the Lakers take D'Angelo Russell, that indicates to me they feel like they're going to get somebody, whether it's DeMarcus Cousins in the trade or LaMarcus Aldridge in free agency or Kevin Love in free agency, because you don't pass on a guy like Okafor if you don't think you're getting a big man coming back in some form or fashion. So that will, I think, indicate to me where the Lakers are in terms of their pursuit of a big man in free agency if they take D'Angelo Russell.
So if Okafor falls out of the top two, is there a chance he falls past the Sixers? Is there a chance that could possibly happen? Or did we now see maybe a trade with the Sixers? Or do they go ahead and take him? Where do you see this scenario playing out, David?
Well, I certainly think that the Sixers would be, that would be the kind of the turning point draft. If Okafor is sitting there at 3, you're going to see a bunch of teams try to move up to 3 to get him. And the Sixers could take him certainly, but they do have Saric coming in, not this year, but maybe in a year or so, that they got last year in the draft, and they think is going to be a star. They've got Noel. They do have Embiid. Now, maybe the foot concerns are something that is really concerning them. But I would certainly think if Okafor is there at 3, the likelihood to me is that Philly would move back a few spots to whatever team tries to move up to get him at 3, because he's, his potential is unlimited as a low post player. And there'll be any number of teams. I would certainly think New York would be at the top of that list, Rich, to try to move up one spot to get Okafor, because that's their dream scenario, is that somehow Okafor falls to them at 4, and they could play him and Carmelo together in the front court, and what would be a rapidly rebuilt Knicks front court. So they would, I think, really try to figure out some way to move up that one spot to get Okafor at 3.
Yeah, that was going to be my also million-dollar question is, what is Phil Jackson thinking these days, David?
Well, I think, again, if there's some scenario where they can get to Okafor, they would do it. If they can't, I suspect the Knicks, and I think a lot of people think they're going to move back because the guys that they will want to take. I think Porzingis is a guy they certainly like. I don't know if Porzingis is a guy that they can take it for, or that they would take it for. But if they move back 2 or 3 spots, and a guy like Justice Winslow is there at 6 or 7, that would make a lot of sense for New York to do if they get another asset as well. But I think right now their priority would be to figure out some way to try and get Okafor if they could maneuver it. And if the Lakers do take Russell at 2, that's what the whole top of the first round is going to be determined by.
Yeah, but David, following the Knicks as you have maybe for as long as you have, that Towns, Okafor, and Russell will be gone 1, 2, 3, and the Knicks are sitting there at 4, and the phone's not ringing.
Probably right.
And the karma of Irving Bierman is out there too. That's all going to happen, David. That's going to happen to the Knicks and Phil Jackson tonight.
Well, this is where Zen Karma's got to come in and save the day.
True.
I mean, if that's Phil's falls back on that, then that's got to happen today and get them the guy that they want, because you're right. I mean, the likelihood is that none of those guys are available, but that's what they are trying to do. That's what they would like to do in our dream world, and we'll see if that comes true tonight.
Yeah, and that late April burst of wins, putting them in this position, Last question for you, David, is unlike the NFL draft, you and all insiders are free to tweet as soon as you have information as to who's about to be picked, and the commissioner's going to go up there fully knowing that the information might be out there already. What do you think about that?
look, I don't know what the big deal is, Rich, to be honest with you. I have never understood this whole, this whole craziness that fans get through. Where they get upset where people process or give them information. That's my job. Okay, my job is to provide information as soon as I get it. And when I hear from people that know what's going on, around the league about who's going where, would you want me to wait to announce a trade if I heard that there was a trade coming? Mm-hmm. So what's the difference? To me, there is no difference. It's information that people want to know. And I tell people at the beginning of the draft, if you don't want to know before it's announced on TV, turn me off for tonight. That's okay. Mm-hmm. You're not going to offend me, but I'm not going to stop doing it. It's my job. That's what I get paid to do, is to provide information about basketball, about the NBA, as soon as I get it, as soon as it's available to me. So why would I embargo that? I've never understood that, and I don't know why that would be a big deal in my line of work. That's what I do for a living. Mm-hmm. So that's that. But that, I know people feel differently about that, but that's how I've always felt about it.
Well, I always look at it from a position of hosting the thing, and it is a television show. I understand It's also an information dissemination cauldron with so many people having information, but it's still what people want to be surprised by a pick when they hear it from the commissioner's mouth. That might be one day, and we're already seeing it right now, David, an old school way of consuming an event like a draft. But from just my position as a host of it, having the commissioner sort of be the Paul Revere to let all the townspeople know who's coming, that is what I'm used to. That's the way I look at it.
And I'm okay with that, Rich. I'm okay with that. I'm sure there are a lot of people who agree with you who want to watch the show and know what's going on. Then turn off Twitter. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Then don't look at Twitter. But you can't say I want to be surprised and then look at Twitter.
That's true.
That's not how it works anymore. So if you want to be surprised, turn your computer off tonight.
David, thanks for calling.
Don't follow social media.
I love it. David, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. We'll chat soon.
Sure, Rich. My pleasure. Always good to talk to you, man.
Same here. That's David Aldridge.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.